second webinar that we're going to do is on mHire. This is a hiring software that we use at Northcote at the moment, but can also be used at the other store as it is web-based. It allows you to record any hire of items that we have rather than having to be entered or written in a book. As we know that book sometimes goes whereabouts, we can't find the book, it is difficult to follow up on outstanding hires. This just allows us to automate the whole process and allows us to have a better record of all our hires. As you can see, there is another tab on the bookmark that allows you to get to mHire. That should be available on all computers. So basically it is just a process of clicking a new tab, clicking mHire. That will take you to the login page of mHire. Now this part here, the username and password should be already pre-populated, or it should actually be on automatic logon. But if it isn't, the username is pnorthcote and the password is pnorth1. Once you're in, it brings you up to our dashboard. It is a very easy to use program. You can see now that we're logged as pnorthcote. It says that we can do a new hire, a return, and we can view our product list. At the bottom it gives you a summary. It says that we've got 6 items on hire. If we click the details, it'll bring up all the people that we have on hire at the moment. So we've got all these people hiring these items. That's the start date, that's the end date, and that's the status. Go back to home. You've got pickups today that you can reserve for people when they come to the store. You can return today. You can late pickups or late returns. So it tells you who's basically told us that they're going to return the product, or we've entered details about them to return a certain product, but they are late. For the sake of this webinar, we're going to do a new hire. Now to do a new hire, it's a very simple process. You press the new hire button and you follow the wizard. So it's a simple process of next. When you go to this page, you will see on each of the items hopefully being hired out an asset ID. It's usually a 5-digit number. For the sake of this process, we're going to search because I don't know. Well, actually it doesn't let you search, so maybe you type in 71389. This is just okay, we don't have one. Because I don't have one in front of me, I'm going to just search our inventory. So if I go to inventory, asset list, I have all my asset IDs there. Again, they should all be hired. So this one is 71372, which is a Medela pump. It's ready for hire. If I go back on home and I go new hire, go next, again that asset ID should be on the actual product, so 71372, search, here it is. So it pre-populates everything. It's a Medela pump, number 5, because we have 6 pumps. Next, brings up the date, the start date and the due date. Now the due date, we usually ask for an indication. It does not mean that the customer needs to bring that item back, because we can readjust the fee payable upon return. Also, although we actually give them realistic time frames, so if they've broken their leg, for example, they're obviously going to need the crutches for longer than a week. If they've just had a newborn baby, they're probably going to need the breast pump for longer than a week. So be realistic. Usually it might have to be 3 weeks, monthly, 3 monthly, or monthly. But for the sake of this, it's a Medela pump. We're just going to go with once a month. So the due date back is not the 21st of May. It is actually going to be the 14th of June, which is 1 month. They're going to pay on a monthly basis, and you'll see that the amount's already pre-populated. So if they pay on a monthly basis $120, it's much better than paying per week. So obviously it's better to go for the monthly basis. So you tick the right basically rate. If they're going to be hiring it for at least a month, you pick the monthly. If they're hiring it less than a month, you pick the weekly rate, because different time frames have different rates. Next. Once you get into this, you can add search for an existing customer or add a new customer. Most of the time, as we are starting to use this now, we probably won't have repeat customers. You can search for the customer, but in most cases you'll have to enter a new customer. Go next. Simple process of adding the customer. So John Smith of Separation, Northcote, postcode 3070, phone number 123456789, email address 123@123.com. Identification details. This is very, very important and needs to be filled out. All you've got to do is basically take this. If the best form of ID is a license, please ask for a license. It's very important that we have some sort of ID that we can identify this patient later on if we need to. So Victorian driver's license is a very, very good idea. If they don't have a Victorian driver's license, which sometimes is the case, then we should ask for 2 other forms of licenses, maybe the Medicare number and a working with children ID, or a Medicare and concession card details, whatever the ID sometimes needs to be. Sometimes it's enough for us to just check if they are actually a patient of ours on our dispense system. So if you just ask the pharmacist, maybe are they a patient of ours, and if they are, well, we probably have all the details already on system. But for the case of this, all you've got to do is basically put their driver's license, that might be 554488, whatever it is, and the expiry date. Next. Okay, so you've brought up now the charging page, so it automatically comes pre-populated. The security bond for Medela breast pump is $200, which they will need to pay. They obviously will get this back, or a balance of which, upon return, depending on how long they hire the item for. There's no delivery fee. We don't deliver any of the hire items, therefore we don't charge a fee. The hire charge is basically $120, as remember they are paying it for 1 month. So you put 1 month, or if they're paying for 2 months, you'd obviously put $240. Again, this is a dynamic number. They will get the balance, or they will need to pay more upon return, depending on the date of return. Okay, for the sake of this process, we're going to put $120 plus the initial security deposit of $200 gives us a total payment of $320. This $320 is very important, as it needs to be processed at the end of the hire. You click next. Now you've completed the hire. All you've got to do is make sure you've completed the pre-hire check of the equipment. Make sure it's in working order, clean and usable for the customer. So you tick. The customer has been provided with instructions for the proper and safe use of the equipment. This is usually done verbally. We don't have any written instructions. We're more than able to help them over the phone at any time. But for the majority of the cases, besides basically Medela breast pumps, it's a simple way of basically adjusting the material, the equipment for the person, and then basically showing them how to use it. Once you've ticked both of those boxes, you click next, and you download the agreement. Once you download the agreement, it'll take you to another PDF version of the agreement, which is down the bottom. You click on that PDF agreement, it'll come up as a PDF. All the details are already pre-populated. You print this off. The hirer needs to sign, and the staff involved need to sign, you date the agreement. You'll notice that there's actually two versions of the agreement. There's a hire agreement and the conditions of the hire. So they get one copy, we get one copy. That second copy at Northcote lives in a folder at the store. It is very important that you put that copy in there just so that it's easy for us to basically follow up if we need to. It's very, very important that the customer signs on both of these agreements and that we keep a hard copy of this signature, because obviously there is no way for the customer to sign electronically. Once the customer signed, you click out of this and you say that the customer has reviewed and signed the hire agreement, and that basically registers the hire on mHire. If you go back to home, you will now see a new hire. You'll see that there is now a hire for how come there is no hire for that one? That's very interesting. There is actually no all orders. It's interesting to see that actually the hire that we didn't actually get registered here. So we will have to do some more investigations about that. That's very unusual. Maybe, so I just want to check that that asset list that I did for that, it says ready for hire. Okay, that didn't allow us to, there was maybe something that we haven't done properly. Let's just go quickly doing it again. Next. 71372. Just re-entering all the information. There must have been something that I didn't press to complete the hire. Again, monthly, 14th of June. Next. New customer. Next. John Smith from Separation Street in Northcote, 3070. Phone number, email, license code, next, no hire delivery fee, you're paying a month. Those are done. Next. I forgot to press finish. That's what it is. So now if I go on hire, you'll see that we have new hire. Okay, so I just forgot to press that finish button right at the end. And you can now see that we have now hired the Medela breast pump to John Smith on the 14th of May to be returned on the 14th of May. If we ever wanted to check the details, we'll have all the details again here. We have the general details, the equipment details, customer details, payments, how much is paid, and any notes that we might put in. Okay, so for example, we can add a note to say this customer rang. John Smith will need Medela pump for another month. Will pay upon return, for example, and you press save. Okay, so as we can see again, there is now a new hire item for the Mandela breast pump for John Smith. There it is, and we've successfully completed that. Now again, it's a very easy system when they return the item. So again, we go to returns. Very simply, we go to the one that they want to return. Again, we just basically ask for their name. So it's John Smith. Make sure that it is a Mandela breast pump. So we cross-referencing the name with the item or the product. So you basically click this one. Oops, sorry. So yep, so you click returns, click details. Once you get into this area, we can again review the details again, and we can either extend the hire if they pay over the phone or via. Actually, they cannot pay over the phone. They can actually deposit the money over the internet, or actually come into the store and extend the hire, or they might want to end the hire, which is basically what happens when they return it. So if you end the hire, you go to next. Again, we're checking basically the asset ID, the item, make sure the item has been checked and in satisfactory condition. Okay, we always make sure, we always ask the customer to, when they bring in the Medela breast pumps back, that they actually clean it and make sure that it is in a satisfactory condition. It is also a good idea that you plug the machine in and make sure that it is actually working. So you basically make sure that this is in a satisfactory condition and go next. Now the bond to be paid back, remember the bond is $200. Okay, now they paid $120, but they're actually returning it today. So therefore they actually don't need to pay anything. They paid $320 initially. They basically, for the purpose of this training, will be bringing it today, and therefore they will have to get the whole refund again. Obviously, if they were to bring it back in 1 month's time, then they have already paid for a month. All they would get paid is the higher repayment of $200, the bond payment of $200. So for the purpose of this, we're going to assume that they brought it back a month later. And there we go. All details have been entered and your order is now ready to be saved. And you go finish. All items, equipment is automatically placed in quarantine. Equipment in quarantine needs to be checked, cleaned and tested as required before the next available hire. Please do this straight away, don't leave it for later. Now, if you would like to start the return inventory process of this, so basically if we want to return this asset, which is the Medela pump, back to our items that are available for return, we do that straight away, saying now. This is the asset details. There are no recommended documents. We have completed the inventory test as required. We have made sure that it's in working order and ready for the new hire, and we save changes. Now if we go to inventory, our asset list will say again, then the Medela breast pump 71372 is now again ready for hire. Okay, I hope that was a very easy process for you guys. Again, it's not very hard to play around with these functions. You really can't go wrong. Again, take the time to do a test, if you like, to go through the processes, and as indicated in the first part of this webinar, if you don't press finish, it won't actually save it to our system. But again, it's an easy way for us to either, when someone actually rings up and wants to know, or we can follow up on all our hires, so we can basically go on all our hires and we can basically check, okay, well this basically was meant to come back on the 6th of March it hasn't come back for a particular reason, we can then follow up and say, what's going on? Where's the patient with this? Again, there's other items here that we need to follow up. Okay, so once we've done that, you can either close the page or you can log off. I would suggest that you just close the page and then come back to it if required. Thank you.